Now this particular section is only for your background information, so what I'm going to say now, you don't have to repeat a lot of it, but you can use it as an understanding of the background. As Nancy has said before, and Ching has also mentioned, this is the motivation for this exhibition was my dissertation. It's about the Buddha's birthday parades. It's a very rare topic. So far I haven't found any other PhD dissertations on Buddha's birthday parades. And in particular, I'm choosing a segment of Chinese history that few people have talked about, and it's the Northern Wei period. But through Buddhism, we can see these dynamic interactions. What's so special about this exhibition is that it is backed up by research, and that has been also will be verified by my dissertation committee, US professors Dr. Long, Dr. Lancaster, and Dr. Guruge, and also from UC Davis, Dr. Wayland Lai, who knows a lot about comparative religion. So he constantly gives me ideas about comparing it with Christmas. There are many, many similarities, including the royalty part. And Dr. Howard Sage from New York. During Northern Wei follows the 16 kingdoms. It was Northern Wei that united the 16 kingdoms, so that Northern China enjoyed about 150 years of peace and prosperity. One particular emperor, that was somewhere down, he's the 6th emperor of the Northern Wei lineage. It's called Emperor Xiaowen. Emperor Xiaowen ruled during the end of the 5th century, so about 1500 years ago. During that period of time, he decided to relocate the capital from somewhere up north, which is called Pingcheng, where today the Yungang grottos stand. The Yungang grottos again were built by the Northern Wei. So Northern Wei people contributed a lot to China. They built one of the largest grottos of the time. Now he moved down to the city of Luoyang, which is on the Yellow River, and it was the seat of ancient Chinese and Confucian civilization. He made a very deliberate move, but not only did he do that, he also forced his people, the Tuoba people, he's from a group called the Tuoba Xianbei people, he forced them to change their family names from Tuoba to Yuan, Chinese. He also had them change their costumes to Chinese costumes. That's why you see the emperor in the triptych and his guards wearing Chinese costumes. So, and at the same time, he also said that the official language in court has to be Chinese. So he started a very severe signification program. Yes.
What were they speaking prior to Chinese?
They had their own Xianbei language. So Luoyang at the time was a cosmopolitan city, very much like LA. Not everybody speaks English. Some speak Chinese, some speak Arabic, some speak Korean, Vietnamese. It was the same. Luoyang was a bustling cosmopolitan city. You think of LA, think of Luoyang back then. It was one of the largest cities of the world. The glory of Northern Wei Luoyang. At that time, this is the map of Luoyang. 1,367 monasteries in the vicinity of Luoyang. Huge. What the emperors did, not just Emperor Xiaowen, but also his successor. His successor is Emperor Xuanwu, who is on the triptych. What they did, and also the following successors, they built the grottos, the Longmen grotto, just outside of Luoyang. Very famous, huge grottos. They are like family ancestral shrines. So it's like they're going there in order to pay respect to their ancestors. So they're private spaces, and you can imagine they're huge. Imperial processions. The royal family went to these ancestral shrines and also to pay respect to the Buddhas. Monks such as Bodhiruchi and Bodhidharma, they all came, famous monks from Western regions came to Luoyang to translate texts. They came to ordain many Chinese monks and nuns. They built monasteries. Also, there were huge stupas and pagodas built. The most famous of which is the Yongning Pagoda. It was set on fire and it took months before it was torn down to pieces. So you can see at the time, the glory of Northern Wei Luoyang, they brought Buddhism to great heights. And yet, if you go to museums today, you find many people, when they talk about Chinese history, they talk about Qin, the Qin dynasty, they talk about Han dynasty, and then they skip over. And then it's Sui, Tang, Song. And they skip the 16th Kingdom period, they skip the Northern Wei period. So through this exhibition, we're bringing this history back. And look at how Buddhism, what Chinese Buddhism was like. It didn't become Chinese Buddhism. Indian Buddhism went through the Silk Road. It was Silk Road Buddhism that came into China and slowly morphed into the Chinese Buddhism that we see today. So the monks back then, they wear robes like this. If you look at the triptych. So what you're seeing here is actually a mutual acculturation process on that triptych. So you can see there's signification taking place, right? The steppe people, the nomadic people taking on Han Chinese costumes and language and appearances. But at the same time, you have the foreign influences, the Kucha music and dance, the Kota music and dance, the literature, very famous at that time, all coming in. Image procession is foreign. Art at that time as well. So what this triptych represents is how a cosmopolitan city and how new ideas came together to give us the Buddha's birthday celebration, the triumph of the time. Variety shows. They were already available as what they call the 100 variety shows by Xi in Han times. So 500 years before the Northern Wei period, already there were variety shows. So building, and they had public processions. So building on this metaphor, when Buddhism came in, they introduced image processions. They introduced all these exotic animals, images, so that we create more fun, attract greater crowd. The music and dance, as Nancy has said, Kucha on the northern Silk Road, and Khotan in the southern Silk Road, coming through to the crossroads at Dunhuang and further on east into China. It was Emperor Xiaowen who had the signification program, who unified the Han and Hu music, because during the 16th Kingdoms period, for over 100 years, there was very little music. Many of the Han music was lost because of war and all these difficult times. However, when peace and prosperity returned, we had music and dance again. Initially, we had elephant parades, but you know elephants are very difficult to upkeep. So who has elephants? The rich, the royalty. Only the royalty could afford elephants. And the same with carriages. Because they're used for war, they are used as for imperial processions. So only the royalty. So what you can see, this image procession is really very much associated with royalty. A larger picture. During Eastern Han, we started actually with elephant parades. Elephants representing, remember Sam, Queen Maya's dream, the elephant. So the elephant represents the birth of the Buddha. Then, later on, during the Three Kingdoms period, we have got elephants too difficult, right? Only the royalty can afford it. So for the popular masses, what happens? We have stupas, the simple stupas being built, and we have the image of the Buddha then. Then as we move on, during the 16 Kingdoms, we see the glory of the automated carriage in later Zhao. And about 200 years later, we have this grand parade in Northern. So things evolve. This is dependent co-origination. Conditions coming together and evolving. You don't have to remember all that, but just in summary, if you're interested, you can just be aware that during the early 6th century in northern China, this historical moment took place. And it was when China was ruled by foreigners, in particular the Tuoba Wei steppe people. They were fierce fighters on horses, on horseback. And this took place in Luoyang. And it's very spectacular because Luoyang is the seat of ancient Chinese civilization. And yet we see such a foreign parade. It's all foreign icons, foreign symbols. But what does it show? It shows that the Chinese were open. The Silk Road has already opened the Chinese to a lot of foreign trade and goods and services, to ideas, to religions. In order to capture all this research, I have to thank Alex. Alex is Australian by birth. He's now posted in Beijing. He was one of our, he comes here regularly to Xilai Temple. Until several years ago, he was posted to Beijing for his work. He works in IBM, but yet offline, he's been extremely responsive with our requests. So if you go to paradeofthebuddhas.org, you will see our website. And on this website, if you go to parades, in here will be all the literature. So you could, please feel free to go through here and look at all the references. If you go to art projects, you've seen Lei Zijiao. The Northern Way painting is also here. Then we also have events. If you go to the events calendar, if you go to here and you click events, that will bring you to our exhibition. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see a calendar. From the calendar, if you go to, let's say, May, which is where our activity will be, I can actually click in here and it will take me to Google Maps. And you can view full-size map, and that will then further bring you to how to get to South Bay, your directions. So that's how you can tell people. Or if you docents have to come to South Bay and you're not sure how to go, you can use Google Maps. Also, there's one particular place that you want to visit regularly on this website, and that is my About page. If you go here, About, first of all, you see that your name should be up here. The entire team, all of us, over 70 of us, should be listed in here. Okay, this is a very impressive team. Yes. And if you go to About, this is the page you want to go to, Inside BBEP. Because in here, we have all our videos. See, we're capturing videos. Emily is a great video editor. She takes this and she takes the best portions, and we've put all these edited videos up here under Docent Training. And this particular PowerPoint that I'm using is also loaded up here. So all your resources are here. And today's video, after they're edited again, they will go up. So just come up here to get your resources.